Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? And welcome back to another installment of the Rufus Rundown. I am joined by the Breakfast of Champions, Matt Trahan and Brandon Mendez. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up?
So, it's been quite some time since I personally have got a podcast in, but in the meantime, I hope you guys have been checking out what they've been doing. They've been pumping out content like madmen. And so what made you guys decide to want to start the Breakfast of Champions, and what is your goals and everything with that going on?
You know, it's funny you say that. We just later today you'll see our most recent episode. We just kind of talked about that. It's really an avenue. It started out as an avenue for us to extend. You know, we meet almost daily for breakfast at school when school's in session.
Have been there for that. Have been there for one of those.
Yeah, so you know what that looks like.
Oh yeah.
So it's a way to bounce ideas off of each other and a way to talk. You know, relate about things we're passionate about, and a lot of the best ideas have come out of breakfast. So we figured if we couldn't do it in person, this is the next best thing. And it's we find ourselves entertaining, so why not share it with everyone else?
Absolutely. I like I said, I've been there for those. It's I mean, obviously love being around you guys. You guys are great role models for me, and just fun people to be around in general. So obviously, I'm assuming people are going to share the same thoughts, and with you guys putting it out there, I mean, it's awesome. There's no better time than now to do it, especially with COVID and everything. And if it's a release that you guys can have, regardless of whatever goes along with it, and if people can pull from that and the knowledge you guys have, it's going to be even more special, even better. Really,
You hit the nail. You hit the nail on the head, Lucas. Because one of the things that I mentioned was that anything else, it's a release. I think I mean we're all still kind of cooped up to some degree. I mean, yeah, we're all getting out a little bit, but it's nice to have that healthy conversation circling around students and sports and some of the things that we love. So again, it is a snapshot into what breakfast with the two of us would be like. I think it's a little bit more censored because we clean it up a little bit, but he's right. Some of the best ideas have come out of breakfast together. That we do share similar thoughts and definitely aspirations for the school and what we want to do. So
well, I mean, it's just free conversation in that building, which obviously since you guys have been there, I mean, I know you guys can attest to it with me. I was only there for 4 years. You guys have been there for much longer than me. Not trying to date you guys or anything, but
some of us longer than others.
Oh, geez.
I mean, I texted Brandon the other day when I saw the picture of you from when you posted the 17 years or whatever. I said, dude, you haven't aged a bit. You haven't aged at all.
Listen, my hairline used to be down here. Okay, it was down here at one time. I look at the picture and I go, Jesus, man, that boy had some hair. What happened? What happened?
Never had that problem.
Crazy.
But I obviously just in my 4 years, I saw how much the school changed, or at least in terms of athletics. I mean, I know you guys can probably speak to it more as to where it was when you guys had originally got there to where it is now, and how much it means to kids there as opposed to maybe there before where it was just kind of something for you to do at the same time. But now, more or less, people are it's just as much a part of that school as a shop is or as academics is.
I appreciate you saying that because that means a lot, So, going, you hit the rewind button, you go to 2004, and I'm going to tell you right now, at 24 years old, you have a vision, but, you're in a different frame of mind. I didn't know necessarily then what I know now, but I do know that we needed to up the ante, right? So at that time, the focus was participation and sportsmanship, and that was the mantra for 25 years. You definitely don't bury those things. I don't think that's anything that it still comes to the forefront. But for us, if you're going to play the game, you need to make every effort to win. It's more than just participation. It's more than just sportsmanship. Those things go hand in hand with the way we attack the game, the way we prepare for the game, the way we prepare for our season. So, it's nice that we have the coaching staff that we do because, as a student, I think you would agree, Lucas, that you see that we're all in. We're all in and we want to see the best for you. And I think the delivery is the fact that you guys jump on board and how passionate that we are about it. So it's like we're all in this together. It's not just, oh, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, and hopefully it'll come together. It's a unified approach. And it's exciting. I think that, for us, and I won't speak for Brandon, I know what he's going to say, but I know that when you closely work with somebody who shares that vision of what you want it to be and how you can help get it there, it's rewarding when you see your fellow coach or somebody that you're working with do big things. So, I mean, we're all in this together. We're all rooting each other on. And, we love working with, with guys like you and kids that have sat in the same spot that you've been in.
Your attitude's gonna reflect what the leadership in front of you provides. So it's a very tough time for kids high school. I mean, football for me, as opposed to just how much I love the game and how much I love sports. At the end of the day, you get to whack somebody, you get to put somebody in the dirt,
Yeah.
and in high school, a lot of kids need that. I mean, there's a lot, if you don't have that opportunity, as like we talk about releases, this is a release for me now, release for you guys during COVID, whatever it may be. But football at the end of the day is a physical release. And like you said, you get to assault other people within the rules of the game. You're not always going to have that opportunity in life to do that, to have that as a release. So you take full advantage of that. But on top of that is that you guys are pumped up. I mean, you're trying to, like I said, I've said it with Brandon before on podcasts before, grow us into people, into young men, into young adults at the same time as sports. But anything you're going to do in life, if you're not willing to pursue it 110% and put your all into it and match what people around you are willing to do, why are you bothering doing it in the first place? If you're not willing to put all of your effort into something, you're probably just wasting your time and wasting everybody else's time around you. So at the same time, if you're willing to put all your effort in and do it the right way, as you guys say, results are going to show at the same time too.
I think that plays into Coach Trahan's point there is that, of course, sportsmanship and participation was the method at first. Now it's the expectation. Now it's implanted in the way we do things. So now we need to move forward to succeed. Now it's, we got to take the next step to move on, and which we've been trying, we've been working on doing over the past few years. And, like you said, see some success and things like that. But to really then drive that point home that, okay, now you're expected to participate, to be sportsmanlike, to do things the right way. Now, how do we get over the hump and continue to win games? How do we get over the hump and continue to help foster tremendous young adults? And that's really, at the forefront now of where we're going and what we've been working on. So I think that's a great point, and, where we've come from and where we're going.
I mean, numbers don't lie. I mean, from like when I was there, we graduated a huge senior class my freshman year, watching them win the Cougar Cup, get a winning record, everything crazy. And then, Coach Gilbo leaves, and then you step right in, and we had we were kind of hit or miss for a little bit, but then we just basically won out the rest of the season, won the Cougar Cup again as a sophomore, lost Cougar Cup as a junior, but we made the state playoffs, all of that stuff. Mr. Harrison came. That was a really cool experience. Not the best game, not the best scoreboard on our end, but still a fun experience to have Mr. Harrison come in and do everything and be in a state playoff game, win a state playoff game, which was incredible as it was. And then as a senior, we tied the school wins record at that time and everything. So you can just see the numbers. And meanwhile, we have 30-something kids in the roster. You're graduating 12 to 15 kids at a certain period of time. Like, I think, what was our class? Like 12 kids that we graduated? Then you had 2 seniors the next year?
Yeah, your class was 11, I believe, and then we graduated 3 seniors. So, yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, you're still making the playoffs. You're still growing these people, and people are still committed to the way you guys are doing things. And the same thing with this class this year. I think this was a huge class for you guys, right?
18.
Yeah, which is just incredible to think that you're graduating 18 when your roster's built up of what, 30 some odd kids?
Yeah. Well, we got some looking ahead. We got some real strong seniors that are rolling through. Couple real solid sophomores and juniors. We're really excited about what's going to be our sophomore class. Another big group modeled much like the group that just graduated. But it really is, it's a true testament to what the kids buy into. Because, your group did something special for the school, for the program, but because you bought in, because the group before you bought in, and now groups after you, like we had talked about before, that just becomes the expectation. This is the way we do things. You're expected to give full effort, to be a model in the classroom, to be a model in the school, to be a model in the community. So really, it's all about buy-in at this point. The table's been set because of groups like yours. Now we just got to move forward and continue on in that trend.
Yeah, I think that's when you say, like, in terms of the classroom too, I know for a fact if I didn't have football or a sport to hold myself accountable in school, I mean, not that I think I was a bad kid or anything, but if I didn't know that Mendez will have my ass if I screw this up or if I get a detention or something like that, I probably would have been in a little more trouble in school than I likewise would have if I hadn't had you guys to answer to at the end of the day. Because I knew that if even a little thing, even if I'm not getting written up for it or anything like that, even if someone hears something kind of negative, it's getting you guys, and I'm going to get chewed for it. Which, like you said, that holds that accountability and is that expectation within the school.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's we're there to kick you in the butt, but pat you on the back at the same time too. So the expectations are high, not just on the field or the court or whatever. I mean, we want to see you guys do well in the classroom. And that's really, we talk about this all the time. I mean, look what you're doing, Lucas. You know what I mean? You're doing big things. You're going to school. I can't compliment you enough on what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it was rewarding to work with you because, and people just like you because we get to see you, fast forward, we're here now. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, you getting down and dirty like you're talking about, pounding somebody in the dirt, so it's nice to see the maturation of, of where you started to where you are now. And I think as a coaching staff, I would say all of us, we appreciate the fact that you guys all move on. You started with us and you move on and you take the ball and you run with it and you do big things. So that's the icing on the cake really for me is to see you guys do what you do. And we're your biggest cheerleaders. We're your biggest fans.
Yeah. I mean, respect, like they say, respect's a two-way street, and you hope that it's reciprocated. And by what I see is like in terms of this growth and in terms of what I'm doing, you guys lay it out in front of us and it's up for us to take it and run with it. And you guys root for us. You guys hold us accountable, everything like that. You guys are incredible role models to us. And if I don't take full advantage of what you guys have in front of me, I'm doing you disservice and myself a disservice as well. So I tried to take as much as I could from you guys while I could. And I still show all the respect to you guys now, appreciate everything you guys have done for me, but, and just try to grow with it. And I hope that if you can have that kind of impact or even half of that impact, really, it's impressive on your end, but also we appreciate it as students because you guys care so much and leave so much for us in terms of it. It's more than just sports or anything. I mean, I've had conversations about, all kinds of things with you guys over the years. And that's the big thing. It's bigger than sports. It's bigger than school. It's just caring for us people, each other as a human being, and that respect being reciprocated. That's why kids still come back the night before Thanksgiving. So many of us are there at that field or are there back watching games, or I'm here doing this now. I don't think a lot of other high schools can say the same.
I've worked at a few different schools. Coach has been in a couple different schools, coach us in different places. There's something special about where we are and the way we do it. Our families, our kids, and the staff, and the programs we have in place. There's just something special about it that like you said, it's a two-way street, and I really enjoy it. And to hear you say things like that is probably one of the greatest compliments you can pay us. I really appreciate that.
No, it's nice to hear. I mean, but I think you're alluding to the point that we talk about all the time, and it's kind of like it's off in the background. We as coaches talk about it. The bottom line is that we say it all the time. Lucas, you were a kid, you were a freshman, and think back to when you were a freshman. We had a lot of fun, but did we treat you like a kid? No,
no. I didn't feel like at all.
No.
I mean, like it was fun. Like sports is supposed to be fun, and there's a fun aspect of it too. But you also laid the groundwork for. Listen, you can have fun as a freshman, but there's a road ahead of you.
Right. And the big part of that too is I mean, listen, we all come from different backgrounds. We were all coached by different people. I think as a coach, you learn from what you see that works and what you see that doesn't work. I know, and I said this in a previous conversation with Coach Mendez. I know what I liked and what I didn't like. And that's just me. But I'm also sensitive to the fact that people want to be treated like you said. They want to be treated right. So you treat young men and women, for that matter, as young adults, because again, you're one step away from either going to the workforce or going to school or with a service, for that matter. So why not start now? Right? Why not start now? Why not treat people with young people as adults? Because at the end of the day, if you set that bar there, your teammates, they're all trying to get there, and be the best person that they can be. And that's really where we come from. It hasn't failed us to this point, and I don't think it ever will.
Well, I think you look at it too. We're in a very big age of entitlement where kids grow up and they aren't treated like young adults, but they're not treated like kids either. They're treated like they're God's gift. They walk in there and they think, they're above everybody. They have this sense of entitlement. I can't be wrong. They can't do that to me. I deserve this. I deserve that. Never once did I feel like I deserved something, or, you know, I had to work for everything. I mean, I remember when I hurt my foot my sophomore year, I was only just playing at tight end, and I had, not that I knew it at the time, but I had to stress fracture my foot, but I did not want to let go of that spot because I knew I had to work for it. Every single thing. There was never a single handout to me, no matter how good or how hard, like how smart I was in a football field or in the classroom. There was never a single handout there, and that's where that accountability comes in. And like I said, it's a problem in today's generation, I think, where everybody expects to be handed something or lives in that entitled attitude where they think they're better than everybody because their parents have either raised them that way or just they've been brought up as like God's gift, per to say. That's not the case there. That's not the case at Oak Colony.
Well, and that's what we're trying to do is, you know, like I said, foster good young adults that are productive members of society and, you know, want to give back and do the same types of things and provide for their children like we provide for our students and our own children. You know, that's ultimately the goal in the long run. That's where we want to get to. You know, you don't get in the profession that we're in with the goal of making a lot of money or, you know, trying to do something like that. This is really a service, you know, a service profession that I want to help better society. And my way to do it is through athletics and working in school and really providing a good experience for young adults and trying to help them be the best they can be.
So for us, athletics is the vehicle, right? Athletics is the vehicle. I mean, and really, you know, you guys take that and you run with it. So for us, it's not, I don't want to say it's a tool because listen, we want to win just like, you know, the next guy, right? We're all in this. We're looking at, you know, hey, we're circling up at Cape and South Shore on the schedule every year, right? But the fact of the matter is that, you know, win or lose, you guys are going to be all right because we know that, you know, we're helping you process the win or the loss or what that game means, and you can always relate it back to life, you know, like, hey, you're not always going to get your way. You might not agree with how the officials handled the closing minutes of that game, or, we turned the other cheek when they did what they did. But, you know, there's so many life lessons that happen through the game that I think that if you have coaches that can process that and help you work with that, I think you're a better person for it. I really do.
Yeah,
you know, because life's going to hand you that.
Absolutely. You're not, I mean, that's like I said, that's the blue collar aspect of it. And that's why I think there's so many successful individuals, no matter what they're doing, come out of that school. And it's, like I said, I think the teaching profession and guys, what you guys do is coaching and teaching, you know, run as role models and mentors. It's very similar to parenting and how parents say the goal of being a parent is to make sure that your kid is better off than where you were at that point. Not to be spoiled in a sense, but you want to have them elevated in the position. You want to have them better off than where you were all the way through. You want to set them up for the best future they can have, better than what you had growing up. And I think it's the same thing that you guys approach, same thing in coaching and mentoring a lot of us kids. Or young adults, I should say. I can't say.
There you go. I like that.
Kids.
young
Using
adults.
words. Yeah.
I love it.
But anyways, well, I guess I'm on the subject of young adults and everything, because I want to talk about the MIAA, but we'll get into that after. Now, graduation was this just yesterday, right? Or was it Saturday? Yesterday, right?
Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday. Graduation was Sunday. I'm all screwed up my days of the week once I get off of work.
So are we.
But how was graduation and everything like that?
I thought it was great. I'll be honest. Looked forward to it all week. It was, kind of gave you some, I said it, to Brandon earlier that, it was, you drive to school every morning, and you kind of take for granted that nice drive in from Acushnet in through Rochester. And, I think as I drove in, it was really more of like, wow, I haven't been here with a larger group of people in a while. So I was really looking forward to seeing the kids and, all dressed up in their caps and gowns and whatnot. But minus the masks, it really kind of felt normal. Lucas, it felt normal to be around them, to see them, on it and get their diplomas. And obviously we look forward to, taking pictures with them and, kind of giving them a hard time a little bit. But I think, being the sentimental guy that I am and how I was, about an hour ago, the tough thing is you spend 4 years with people, you get to work with them like we're talking about. you realize after you take that picture, it's you might not see them again for a while. So that's as a coach, as a teacher, as an administrator, that's the thing that I think we struggle with because we are so connected. I mean, we're a small school. It's a nice atmosphere, and we know what's going on in your life, and we know how much we've worked with you and how much we've either helped you or listened. Graduation is a fun day, but it's also for us. It's one of those days where like, I'm gonna miss that individual.
It's a bittersweet
Yeah.
experience.
Thank you.
I think it's bittersweet for both parties.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, we and graduation was great. Had a great day. I say it all the time. It's one of my favorite days of the year. But it's bittersweet is probably a fine description because, you get close. These are relationships that we have with each other through, with the students and with each other. And it's a time, for me, it's a big time of reflection as well, to look across a 4-year period of time, to look at the amount that group of students has produced, has grown, and has matured. So, it's a huge day for me. And I thought, we had a great ceremony, just tremendous to have it in person. Absolutely tremendous. Absolutely.
Yeah. I remember graduation for me. It was, I don't know, just a nice day out and everything. It was a really good feeling. I have to imagine if these kids like that, finding that sense of normalcy, not that I have a problem with any of the new normal stuff. Like we got to adjust, we got to get through this, and new normal is going to be part of the way to getting back to just that regular normal. It's going to be a process. It's not a hoax. It's a legitimate thing that we need to take seriously. Massachusetts is one of the states that has, but like you said, Matt, like that sense of normalcy just feels so much better now as opposed to like something you might have taken for granted a couple of weeks or years ago, whatever it may be. You urge, you sense, you drive for that, just that real normal feeling. Like I get it out of fishing or out of golfing. Like you really go for it now, specifically like with an experience like that, especially within the school community.
Yeah. And I alluded to it earlier, we started a little bit of off-season conditioning this week. No equipment, no weights, nothing specific, just some body weight stuff, some good old, running, things like that. And, just nice to be out there with a small group of kids, some interaction, some conversation from a distance, and get out there and do what I love. It's nice to get going again. Like you said, that sense of normalcy. And again, graduation was similar to that. It's a new normal with a mask or whatever, but it really brought back, like Coach Trahan talked about, like that ride in, being around a large group of people. We thrive on things like that. I know, I love sitting in the full gym. I love turning around and seeing a full crowd, at a football game. So to be in a large group at school, at that facility is, a sense of normalcy that I missed and appreciate.
Yeah. That's the same thing. Like work is one thing, but like stuff, like little things like that. Like I can't wait to stop in at practice on Wednesday and be able to just, see some of that and see how the kids are reacting and stuff. Like where it's just incredibly tough to be, without and away from that. But I really can't wait to see, ask a couple questions and stuff like that. Do like my, reporting work to see like what's going on, like through their heads, how they're preparing for it. And also too, I guess while we're talking about it, Coach Trahan, have you heard anything like concrete or solid to the MIA? What is the belief of what like high school athletics is going to be? Because I know some of like the college divisions, like MassCAC and stuff, like for like, UMass Dartmouth football, like that's canceled. They've canceled like their seasons and stuff. Have you heard anything concrete from the MIA in terms of like what they're looking at for plans and such? If there's going to be a chance at like high school sports this year, or
so had we done this podcast this afternoon, I might have some information for you. Yeah, so I'm actually going on a board of directors meeting in about 45 minutes. And nothing, honestly, Lucas, nothing is concrete at this point. I think everything's in play. And if I was to speculate and be a conspiracy theorist, which many of you may know that I am, I think we're going to see some sort of pushback, similar to what you saw in the spring, right? So, they may push it back a couple of weeks to the start of the season and whatnot. But, following the news, following what's going on out there, you're seeing a lot of our, whether it be New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, what they're doing. I think we've kind of fallen that belt a little bit. But, at this point, and it's similar to the spring, we as athletic directors, administrators, will do anything to make it happen. You know what I mean? I think the good thing that's going for us is the fact that, numbers are down, right? But you know what? There's a lot of people to answer to. So, the governor's got to move us into phase 4. And I think he's going to have some say as to what happens. It's not the typical, if there's the rule violation or there's something going on and, the MIA has to get involved. This is bigger than just the state organization for athletics. It's far bigger. This is across the board in everything. So I think we could put a plan in place and that could change within the day.
I think well, the thing with Governor Baker is that his mother is in a nursing home and she is at one of the people at risk, and he took it very personally with everything he did. But you can say what you want about Governor Baker, what you believe, what you don't believe about him, what you like, what you don't like about him. At the end of the day, he has handled COVID incredibly well.
Look where we are.
I mean, we're one of the only, I think as of a week ago, might have changed. I mean, you got Florida, which is a petri dish for the thing, or California with the beaches, which is a petri dish for the thing. You have Massachusetts, one of like only 3 or 4 states that were on track to contain and maintain this virus, which if people keep wearing their mask and keep handling their business the way it needs to be handled, we might have things like high school sports. We might have things like college sports with fans and certain things. We might have even fans like in limited capacity at Fenway because we've taken care of our business. We've done it the right way now. The state will reap some rewards from it. It was tough at a time, and it still is tough now. But as we're working out of it, one of the few states that have handled it the correct way.
I agree with you because you know what? I mean, he opened slowly, right? So when you look at the way we were all in the thick and thin of that, where everything was shut down, but he was slow in his approach. So they talk about flattening the curve and all of those things. He pushed things an extra couple of weeks, right? And look at the benefit of that. We're in a far better place than so many others. So I'm hoping that is a factor for us and being involved with sports and getting that door open again too.
I believe he was informed on it. Like I said, he took it personally with having family members that are at risk for it. And I think that's the case with anything nowadays, is that you should be informed on things. And with the media and stuff, a lot of stuff can get mixed up. If you're getting media from one source or news from one source, you can't do it. You are uninformed. You need to be able to find different sources and ways to educate yourself on certain events and understand where biases and stuff may be coming from. And it's part of what I want to start getting into my podcast too, is looking at things through different eyes, looking at things from a different angle. And this is another one of those things. And I think that he was very informed, listened to a lot of different opinions, approached it very carefully, and we're being rewarded for it now.
I was just gonna say you stole my thunder. I was gonna say I appreciate the way he handled it in terms of well-educated, well thought out planning and being collaborative in his approach. I mean, I think he worked very effectively with his staff and those around him to really put us in a position to be where we are. And to continue to succeed. It wasn't just a willy-nilly figure it out like we've seen in some other places. I think it was really a well-informed, well-thought-out, phased approach. And like you said, now we're seeing some of those positive results. And hopefully, people can continue to take it the way that we have been and the way we're going and stay on the same path so we can have some of those nice things back. Our new normal might be a little less intrusive. So hopefully, we can stay on that path.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the information at hand, he took all. He doesn't have, in like in any good leadership, he doesn't have a lot of yes people around. He doesn't have all kinds of yes people around him. And but he also thinks for himself too. He probably had a lot of different ideas. Probably had different information. Different people coming to him with different ideas. But at the end of the day, he made his decision. But he was well informed on it. Which, like I said, you can say what you want about him. That is impressive in its own thing. Because in today's day and age, there's not a lot of people that are in charge that don't have a lot of yes people around them or are very well informed in situations. They want to just think for themselves. But I think everything he's been handled immaculately and should be looked upon from other states and how we did it. It's impressive.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I think, and it's worked for us. And at one point we were one of the ones that was a hot spot to kick this thing off. If you look back in March, Boston, it started in Boston at one point, so to continue to see success like that and to reel it back has been a tremendous accomplishment. And, anytime you lose lives or you put people at risk, it's sad and it's detrimental, but to be able to get to a point where we are is, like I said, has been a great accomplishment.
Yeah, I think off the bat we were a hub for it. It was us in New York that were leading, and of course, a lot of people traveled through Boston and everything too, which is a given. And per capita and spacing, you can get into it all. But at the end of the day, we're in good shape. Though we lost Matt.
He's out.
Matt bounced. I don't know what happened. You're here. You're here.
Hey, that's good.
When as long as he'll join back eventually, I think. There he is. Yep,
Yeah.
we're back.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened.
Get off that iPad.
Not for nothing, but I've been doing this for a while, a little bit, on different podcasts, or even being on Zoom for that matter. It seems like more frequently that's happened, whereas early on it was never an issue. Never buffered, never had a problem. Just I could go anywhere. The only place I really couldn't go was outside the backyard. I mean, in the house, no problem. Now, I don't know what the deal is. Again, it's a conspiracy theorist. I think I'm being censored.
Good luck.
Sorry about that, guys.
And I said the FBI agents behind there just laughing at you right now.
Yep.
Anyways, I'll get off the whole COVID thing. We'll stay positive because I know you guys know Jake Ashworth. I know at least Brandon knows him pretty well too. I don't know if you guys saw the story from the NCAA about him donating the kidney to his sister and everything. Great story, right? I'm bringing Jake on eventually. I think it might be tomorrow with him and my buddy Andrew DeMello. I might do an outside. Nice. I might do an outside setting too. I might even be able to get around by a fire or something, do like an outside thing. Something that Joe Rogan's always wanted to do was like a little fire pit outside. I have some ideas for that, which I think could be really cool. But that's in the works. But for any of you guys that haven't seen the article, definitely check it out. I'll definitely be linking to the story when we talk about it, linking to this clip. But it gives me a chance to ask you guys. You guys have seen plenty of great athletes come through, the Ryan Bakers and Jake Pringles, and there's so many great athletes that have come through at Old Colony, broken records, and done so many great things. But what is the most impressive thing you've seen done by, one of your athletes off the field? What's like the most impressive, feat that they've done off the field? I'm not going to try and compare it to that because not everybody can just donate an organ to their sister. But what's like one of some of the more impressive events you've seen from your athletes and your students around you do outside of the classroom and off the field?
That's a tough question. And kudos to Jake and the whole family. I've known Jake and Lindsay for a long time, and obviously, good old Scott. We go back a ways. So, Jake, all the credit to you, man. Lindsay, happy you're healthy. Just tremendous, example. That's a miracle situation. I couldn't be happier for all three of them. But I think that's hard to answer only because, like you said, that's a miracle situation. That's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah, I'm not trying to compare it by any means. It just kind of got my gears turning, saying like, what are some of more of the impressive things that you've seen in terms of people doing off the field?
And I think I measure it in a larger scheme, a bigger picture, and say when I see kids move on to do something they're passionate about and succeed, vocational setting, how many kids have gone on and, open their own business or move forward and graduate from college, or, the military is always a big one for me too. But to see someone take something and create their own, Lucas, I'll use you as an example. To take what you've done, you love to talk. We talked sports. We talked a lot in high school, a lot. But you found a venue in a healthy way to move forward and create something you're passionate about and drive it and really get behind it. Like your idea with the board for success and, your focus and to move forward and things like that. And to, we were just talking about, you built your own home setup, multiple monitors, a new computer, you're doing all these things to do something you're passionate about and you're succeeding. That to me is tremendously fulfilling. And that's part of the reason I do what I do. So, and I think Jake's a miracle worker, but, and like I said, no disrespect there. I think that's one of the most tremendous things I've ever seen as a person, much less being involved in that, that guy's life at some point. But to watch, a situation like you and take something you love and run with it and really get behind it and be passionate about it is really, it doesn't get much better than that for me,
Yeah, I appreciate it a ton. I mean, I love doing this. I love having you guys on. It's good conversation. I mean, why is there any reason if we can have all these good conversations all the time and we have ideas amongst ourselves? What's wrong with spreading those ideas and spreading that love and spreading that passion to other people? There's absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, people appreciate it because there's so much negativity in the news. There's so much negativity floating
Yeah.
around the world. To have this positive conversation and look at certain aspects of life and certain things differently and being able to get different insights from it with different experiences and anecdotes, I think it's amazing.
I agree. I mean, when you talk about Jake, I mean, that is one special person. You know what I mean? I mean, known him for a long time, certainly known Dad for even longer. But when you watch him as a player, I mean, and I want to comment on that. I mean, you can't sum it up in a few words because he does the intangibles, right? You're always telling your team, hey, you need to talk on the floor. You need to do X, Y. He does all those things 10 times over. I mean, you can appreciate the fact that he's a young man who takes what he does extremely seriously. But on the softer side, I saw him 2 days after he had that surgery. He was in a summer league game coaching the team. So I mean, you got to remember. I mean, he just got out of surgery, and he's still putting the emphasis back on the kids that he's working with. So that tells you the type of individual that Jake is. And I think he gets that from Dad. Because Dad's a great guy too. But as far as kids that have gone on to do bigger and better things. I agree with Coach Mendez. I'd have to generalize it because, over the years we've worked with tons and tons and tons of kids. And really some of the most fulfilling things for me are when they come back. I saw somebody who at graduation who graduated 10 or 11 years ago. They made it a point to stop and say hello, and they wanted to tell me that they've got 2 kids, starting a new business, building a house. And you hear those things and you say, hey, it all started at Old Colony, and we were having conversations way back when, and, but to see people move on and do good things in life, whether they're giving back. And, some of them, some of the people that are working at the school were students, were former students, and they've given back. We've got 17 instructors that went to Old Colony. Some of them played sports. Some of them have come back and now they're instructors, so that, you look at those things and you say, that place is really a hidden gem out in the woods because there's a lot of good things that happen there. And to just put it down to one, I think I'd be doing a disservice. There's just so many people that, I think their heart's in the right place because they went to Old Colony.
Absolutely. I mean, high school is an incredibly tough time mentally on those kids. And it's really that age of molding, and really it is a turning point. Where are you going to go? Is you're at a certain peak in a sense. And are you going to go back down? Are you going to continue to rise up? Like, where's the stock going to go? And you guys have an incredibly huge impact on that. So the fact that you can see those stories of where those kids got, they know that they had a lot of help there at the pretty much most difficult time in life. It's about surviving high school. I mean, high school is an incredibly difficult time in people's lives. And to address Jake too, I mean, there's so many stories I could tell on Jake. I mean, he is hands down the best teammate I've ever played with. And I've said that before on another podcast. Never stops talking. I remember we played Bourne in baseball. It was below 30 degrees. It was cold. We were playing Bourne, open the season, and I felt like it was a couple close pitches. I think it was like 1-0. He threw a ball outside. Then he put one right in the corner. All his body language changed and everything. Gives me strike one. I mean, it was on the chalk. It was in the batter's box. And I was like, you got to be kidding me right now. And I didn't know Jake from a hole in the wall at this point. So then I foul one back. It's 1-2. Then he goes even further outside with the next fastball. Pumps me, dude. I was like, you got to be kidding me. And Jake's all, let's go. That's the call. I'm looking like all juiced up on the mound, wicked energy, chirping from the sidelines. I hated the kid. I was like, that's not even a close to a strike. I was like, dude, you're not even like, that's not even close to a strike. What are you juiced up about? The umpire just bailed you out because your last name. And then you actually meet him. And then you realize how passionate it is, how much he knows about the game. Hey, let's push in here in the infield. Hey, get 2 steps to the right. Hey, we'd go around playing Legion ball. We get top of the order. Hey, we got top here. And then you go to the center field. Hey, Benny P, we got top, whatever it is, whoever's name is. And we go around the entire field saying we got top, we got one down, just constantly talking, constantly having fun. And he's he's the most competitive kid I know. I tweeted it out the other day where it showed, I don't care if we're just playing, if we're playing spike ball or we're playing pong or anything like that, or we're playing pickup twos basketball. I don't care what it is. If you look at me after and say, nah, it's just the game anyways, right? That's not him. It's not, and he is the most competitive kid. He's a competitor. I work out with him now. We've been doing some workouts throughout the weeks. Like he is just a driven, competitive person. And like I said, in that situation and everything is incredible. And everything he does as an athlete, incredible too. Like I said, playing baseball, them incredibly gifted athlete, but it's the mental part that he really just is totally immersed in and is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, I know that firsthand. He was a freshman at Bourne. We were Thanksgiving Day when I was at Wareham, and he single-handedly beat us. We couldn't tackle him, as a freshman. Yeah, so I've seen that firsthand and watched him through summer league. I always followed his career, and like I said, I've known him, and I played softball with Scott for a long time. Same idea, we guy knew everything, knew the sport, knew how to talk us up, but also knew how to make us laugh the entire time. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work. And I think that, Jake gets a lot of that from him. And, might have been an athlete himself back in the day, but, Jake's a great young guy, and always, every time I've talked to him, has always been respectful. Like I said, good conversations. He's umpired some of my son's games, things like that. And he's always been a solid guy. So definitely much respect there.
It's contagious. I remember how loud our team was. We were good too. We were a very good team for both years of my Legion, but we were so just, I don't want to say obnoxious, because baseball is baseball. You talk. We're not obnoxious. I mean, some people might see it as obnoxious. My dad's like, oh, it's Bush League. We're just having fun. We're just talking. We're just running. It's baseball. For me, that's part of it. Hey, leave it for the worms, but the whole team is saying, it's not just one person. I remember when Bourne, it was literally just Jake. Jake was just, and that's the thing. Like when you have a whole team saying, that's one thing. Like I remember it was Bourne, it was like 25 degrees. Nobody wanted to be there except for Jake.
That's
And
why he was getting that outside corner, kid.
That's exactly,
because open up that zone.
He's the only one chirping over there from the bench, and I'm like, dude, somebody just, I'm like, plunk him, Mason, plunk him, like hit him with a fastball. I couldn't stand him at that point, but then playing with him, you realize how much he cares, how passionate he is. Like I said, and like the whole team was. We actually got for chirping so much. It was against, I think it was against the Ponequit, or not a Ponequit. It was against some Legion team. The kid walked the first like 9 batters of the game. He walked like 4 runs in, 5 runs in. And we would not shut up. We had 20 kids in that bench just yelling, screaming, but like, hey, leave the worms, leave in the hey, ball 5, ball 8, ball. Like we were.
Someone would have been wearing one. Someone would have been wearing one.
We were ruthless, and the kid on the mound just couldn't get it together. His head was a mess. They came in and changed him. Give it a week later, because parents were upset. Like he was upset. People from the other bench were upset and yelling at us for. I'm like, what are you gonna do? We don't even get written up to the chain of Massachusetts Legion ball. They go all the way to Illinois, and to the head of Legion baseball for the continental U.S. and said, hey, you need to tone it down. So that's how loud we were, and how much it was fun for us. Wow. I mean, we played well, but we got written up all the way up there. And it's contagious, because if Jake, I never really was that loud or anything like that, especially coming from high school playing for Lincoln. We were never like that. I was never like that, but it was contagious. And it wasn't like, it was just an aspect. I would hype up my own teammates. I mean, we would really chirp the pitcher, be like, hey kid, let's go. Like we're just loud. Like got a duck in the palm, whatever it is. It was more self-encouragement. Now leaving it for the worms and the birds, that's on the fence, but still at the end of the day, like you're saying good eye. I mean, it is. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if you can't handle that, I think you're playing the wrong sport, really.
Right. I think he's a great leader, though. You know what I mean? And you almost
exactly.
But you almost become envious, though, because we've had our teams play against Bourne when he was playing, and I'm looking around. I'm saying to myself, this guy doesn't stop talking. He's back there, and he's literally helping his teammates know where to be and how to get there. Right. So now their defense is that much better, because he's the maestro, and he's calling all the shots. And I'm saying to our guys, it's simple as opening your mouth, right? Anybody can talk. It's like having a 6th man on the floor. He does it, and he does it well. And he does it in everything he does. It's amazing. It's
not empty words by any means.
No.
Like he's not just there saying stuff. And that's what you realize when you play with him. When you're playing against him, you think, oh, he just doesn't shut up. Yeah. But when I played with him, like he tell you, he pushes in the infield, like he knows the game on top of how much he talks, and that's what's impressive about it. He brings that energy at all times, and he knows what he's talking about, which is even the more impressive thing there. The leadership that he displays, even when I'm just working out with him, I might be dying over there on the floor. He last 5 minutes. We're almost through. Like, he just has that natural leadership in him, and it's incredibly impressive. I envy that, at least. I mean, I thought I was a pretty decent leader, but Ash is something else, man. I mean, he's almost got 1,500 points in college now too. Like, and his thing all the time, he talks to me, he's very humble. He goes, I'm like, he like could dunk in practice, but he's like the only kid on that team that can't dunk, but yet he's like the best scorer on that team. He just finds whatever way he can to do the best he can be. And he's pretty damn successful with it.
You would know better than us, I would imagine. I mean, there's a classic case of a young man that should definitely entertain coaching at some point in his life.
He better.
You know, I mean, that would be a travesty if he didn't. I don't know what his major is. I don't know what his plan is, but at some point, I mean, he should be coaching. I mean, I want to give the credit, some credit to Scott, because you know what, I mean, I know what it's like to be, as a parent, and too, Brandon, you're coaching your son in Little League. Some of the things that we're trying to impart on our own kids is similar to what you're talking about with Jake, right? So I had the conversation with my son Hudson about, being vocal. You're an older kid on the team right now, lead by example, those type of things. But, Jake's been doing that for a long time, even at a young age, so to know the game the way that he does, to vocalize the game, I think he's got a special talent that not many people have, and he should definitely consider being in the coaching ranks moving forward.
Well, he's a math major, actually, so he wants to become a math teacher. So I'm hoping that along with being a math teacher, he's going to eventually become a coach. And I just told him this summer, I said, dude, we should get a Little League team. We should coach a Little League team, or like get like an AAU team or something. We should coach. He goes, of course, he umpires to make the money, but I think eventually down the line, could see him coaching a team, or even coaching a team with him, and it's, working our way up. I mean, I'd love to get back there and coach and help assistant, like with a freshman team or something like that. Eventually they'll call me. I got 1 year left. I'll be a senior next year. That'll be my 4 years removed. So I'm trying to get somewhere, and I'm hoping, me and Ashworth at some point get on the same page too, and people that are like similar, to us, we can get together and really just continue to, help these younger kids, really.
That's awesome.
That's eventually the goal. I mean, because you can't compete in sports your whole life, but if you can live vicariously through the kids and help them grow into good young adults and solid young athletes, then I think we're totally empowered to do it, and I'd love to do it. I remember my honor society senior project. I was coaching Little League Brandon. If it wasn't for my work schedule the next summer, I would have done it again.
Yeah, which was a great experience. The kids loved it. You did a great job, and I'm glad you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I mean, Little League's one of the best times of my life, and it should be for any kid. So if I can help even just by a little bit, dude. I remember, I forget who it was. He showed up. There was one kid that showed up to like one or two kids. I think it was this. I think that showed up to like the non-mandatory hitting. And I remember getting to work one-on-one with him. Me and your father got to work like one-on-one with him the whole time. He got his swings in half hour, whatever it was. And we hung out for a little, we talked. And then like the next game, we got pretty much shut down. I think it was like, because that year, wasn't the best year for you guys. We pretty much shut down. But I remember him having like 2 hits, putting the ball in play as opposed to what he was doing. Like for me, it felt so good. I was like, that kid showed up. That kid put his work in. And I hope that teaches him a lesson to say, like, doesn't take that much more to outwork the next person. It really doesn't. It can just be a half hour more, and that makes the difference. And felt good for me as like I was able to help that kid, and he was there and he wanted to be there. He likes the game, and it paid off for him. And that for me is what really made me like, I know I want to be a coach because of how rewarding that felt. It just was rewarding as me personally hitting a home run or making a tackle. That right there made me just feel really good about myself in terms of what I was able to help him, and he was willing to learn and take it for that even short period of time.
Go ahead, Coach. I know it. Go ahead. I'm
sitting here with a smile on my face because Lucas has been reading from the good book, and he's got the pearls of wisdom. So you know what? I'm sitting here a happy man. All the things we worked on over the 4 years. Listen, it's like they're all coming back. They're all coming back, and to hear you say that you want to coach makes me extremely proud.
Yeah, I mean. If I hadn't had, my bad, Brandon, if I cut you off.
No.
Essentially, you guys make me want to coach because, like, you guys enjoy what you do and had such a positive impact on me. Why wouldn't I want to do it? If I can enjoy myself, have it as a side hustle, and impact other people the way that I was impacted, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to? If it's fun, you're not doing it for the money, but you're not doing it for free either. And and you get to impact people along the way. It's amazing to me, really, how it's awesome. You can still be involved with sports, you can still compete, and you can impact other people's lives in more than just sports. You can't really ask for much more than that out of a position.
it's a family network too. You know what I mean? Like once you're a part of the family, you're a part of the family for, for the long haul. I mean, it's funny because I was, this morning I was outside with my neighbor. This is just a side note. He's 85 years old, but every 2 minutes the horn's beeping and I'm waving and he's like, do you know everybody? And I'm like, no, I don't really know a lot of people, but I've worked with a lot of people and, it's great to get that honk and wave and, you get to see people and, it really is rewarding. I mean, again, we're all competitive. We all want to win. And when you're in the moment, it's all about that game. But there's always a bigger picture, Lucas. You know what I mean? And the bigger picture is, for me today, you made my day. And the fact that we're all getting to sit here and have a conversation. But to listen to you speak and some of the things that you're saying are directly in line with what we're doing and where we come from. So to hear you say that you want to coach, you know what? It could be cloudy and rain, for the rest of the day, and I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, and I kind of missed the point too before. Like we were talking about like the most impressive off-field instances and what you guys said, and I appreciate everything you guys had to say. Too, like, it hit me too. That jersey that's right in that main lobby with Tyler Trahan.
Yep.
That's a whole nother thing too. That's incredible in its own self. He gave his life
yeah.
for this country, and he went to Old Colony, which I thought Mr. Avalar had a pretty funny story when Mr. Avalar was telling us once, like when he was in woodshop, there was a kid that started bleeding, and the kid fainted, and he started bleeding, and like that kid turned out to be an EOD tech and working with Navy SEALs, and that was Tyler. And I thought that was just like a cool anecdote that Mr. Avalar had. I was not expecting it when he told that story. I wasn't expecting it, and that's incredible. That's another incredible experience too. That's what I was thinking of in terms of like, service and everything. Nick Demlin and Nate Plussy, they both made E5 in 4 years. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to make sergeant in your 4 years in the Corps. My dad did it, but it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, I remember Nick doing it within like 3 years, I think too. He had like a whole year where he was at E5 to make it out, to not only make it through the Marine Corps, but make it out as an NCO. Just in those 4 years, that is incredibly, and then Tyler doing his thing too and giving his life to this country. And then even Ryan Baker, he's become an NCO too. I think he's at a specialist class too in the Army. I mean, that goes to show a lot of what you guys have been able to instill too, even especially within the service. And I'm sure Robbie Bishop's doing his own thing too. I haven't heard a lot from him, but I'm sure he's doing all right at the Air Force Academy too. So that stuff on its own is pretty impressive too.
Yeah, that's always, like I said, I alluded to it. The young men and women who go on to the military and, protect us and give us the ability to still live freely and well is a much larger sacrifice than I've ever had to make, So tons of credit there. That's tremendous, and, those are all names that I've kept track of and are happy to hear they're all doing well,
I got to throw Jack Pelletier in there, too. I almost forgot about Jack Pelletier.
Yeah, Pelly, my guy.
Oh, yeah.
Pelly's doing his thing, too. And I don't want to miss any names. I'm not trying to miss any names, even if I do. But I got to make sure I throw Jack's in there, too, because I remember him reaching out a little while back on my podcast page, too. I had to misprint in my bio, and he looked out for it.
And Pelly found it? I believe it.
Yeah, Pelly found it. So I got to shout all them out. I remember when the whole Iran situation happened, I thought stuff was going to pop off. I remember reaching out to Baker. I reached out to I knew Nick was out at the time. I didn't know if Nate was out, so I reached out to Brad, and Nate had gotten out a couple of months before. But Baker said, he goes, not a lot of people like appreciate the military and stuff as much as before. And he goes, not many people. He goes, you're the first person to reach out to me during this. And I was like, wow, that's crazy how you can go away and you want to do so much to these people around you, but yet people kind of forget because you're not really in their life anymore. And I go, like I said, Bake's probably, if I say Ashworth's the best team I ever played with, he's the 1B to Jake Ashworth as the 1A. And those two, hands down. You can say people say what they want about him. They have their stigmas, they have their stereotypes. Even I had learned the hard way with how Jake was before I ended up playing with him. But at the end of the day, those are solid human beings, very solid human beings. And I felt bad for Bake in that sense because he's such a solid person. He's crazy. He can say his things. He can do his piece. But at the end of the day, he really cares about people. And that's the impressive thing about a lot of people like that are coming out of there and what you guys can preach as well.
Yeah, and he's proved it, just going through the military and whatnot. And I saw him recently on his last time he was home, and guy's got a pretty concrete plan for where he's going in life, and I couldn't be more happy for him because he's going to succeed. He's got himself set up to move forward in a very good direction. So I'm looking forward to seeing that and keeping in touch with him too.
Another success story.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, there's so many. I remember Mr. Gonzalez had so many stories from people. I mean, Mr. Gonzalez is probably one of the most and I'll give this as my anecdote. I wasn't even thinking of going to college before I had class with Mr. Gonzalez. I was just like, I went to Voc school. I'm going to work vocational. I'm not going to go to college. College a waste, it's a waste of money. It's all this scam. Like, I was all deep in conspiracy theories. Like, oh, it's just money. It's the money grab. You don't really need it. But then, and like same thing with football too. Like, he just changed my mindset a lot too. I mean, you guys had a great impact too. But like the way Mr. Gonzalez goes, you can do anything you put your mind to. But like people can say that. It's a lot easier said than done. You can do anything you put your mind to. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you believe. But the way Mr. Gonzalez goes about it, the way he had his passion behind it and stuff, and the way he really preached it in his stories and his anecdotes is probably he's got to be one of the most impactful, if not the most impactful teacher, like in that building, at least for me personally, for my impact. Like, he made me want to go to college. He made me want to better myself. So he goes, you guys are in this advanced math class. I didn't want to be in that class, but I was in it and I was succeeding. I made it to the first year. He made me want to be better at school, not only school, but just everything I did on top of that.
Yeah, I know. I talked about it last time I was on. Him, Mr. Harrison, people in that building that I always looked up to from when I was younger, and now working with them and whatnot, and they've always had my back, and have always you can tell always has the best interest of the students in mind, and has really always positive, and really wants to much like we said earlier, just wants to make a positive impact on young adults and wants them to succeed. And again, that's part of the I guess the nicety of that environment is that we're surrounded by people like that, and if one word or one hello makes your day, or one conversation or one funny story changes your life path instead of going to work at Toyota at Dartmouth, nothing against that, but then it ends you up at school, at a 4-year or even a BCC. That's a huge change in your life path that someone has, all they were doing was giving you a positive message, and we're lucky to be surrounded by people like that.
And there's no timeline in the road that you take too. You know what I mean? There's really no timeline.
No.
I mean, the way things are set up now, you could start your career in one place. I mean, I wouldn't use myself as an example, but you start in one place, you could end somewhere else. But I go back to Kevin. I mean, I have you guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I think you just froze a little bit. You gotta get him off the iPads.
Minecraft's done, kids.
Oh boy. Technical difficulties. You're gonna have to throw the thing up there.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I got noise. No.
Oh.
Well, I'm
moving on.
Moving
on.
All right. So while I got you here, I haven't been able to ask yet. How has Little League been? Because I know it is something that I brought up in the previous podcast. How has that been going as you guys have been working through it?
Well, on an individual perspective, won our last 4 in a row, so we're doing okay.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. Dylan packing a couple of them, guy. You got a couple of home run balls up there on the mantle yet?
No round trippers yet, but he's hitting well. He's hitting the ball hard, putting it in play.
Solid contact is all that matters at that level.
I don't think he's struck out yet. All that good stuff.
That's it right there.
As a team, like I said, the team perspective, we're playing well. We got a nice group of older kids, and the thing that's put us over the edge recently is the younger guys are now putting the ball in play a lot. And,
it's contagious, man. It's the summer.
Hey.
One guy's hitting, everybody starts hitting. It's fun. It's contagious like that in Little League. It's like that subconscious, kids, they just want to do it. They want to be successful with them. They don't want to be left out.
Say the confidence has made a huge difference. And,
yes.
Sometimes for a 10-year-old, all it takes is one good rip, and then you're in, you're locked in. And I think that's what we're starting to see. As a league perspective, I think it's been very, very good. It seems like people are really adhering for the most part to guidelines and doing their part. There's some good parity in the league. There's a lot of support. So it's been a nice thing to be able to get out, to coach, to work with kids, and the kids are having a ball. The kids are having a real lot of fun.
And that's the big thing.
That's what Little League's for.
That's the big thing. I felt so bad when they canceled Little League World Series. I'm just so happy that stuff is happening still. That's what it's really about. I mean, if kids are out there raking, not only that, it's fun and they want to keep hitting because they've been trapped inside for all these months. They've been away from their friends. They're out there, they're having fun, and their mind's not thinking about, oh, I've struck out this many times. It's not just baseball anymore. It's so much more than that right now because they didn't think they were going to have it. They almost lost it. They were away from it. They were locked inside. So it's so much more than just baseball to them now. It means so much more for them to be able to be out there, which is awesome. And it shows, and I think it's going to show in kids that are hitting in the results and just wanting to be there. They're going to want to be there no matter what, and they're going to want to get better because what else is anybody doing outside of that with all the guidelines and stuff? It's one of the first things you can really do to be around your buddies at all the times and really something that a lot of those kids I hope enjoy and do enjoy.
Yep, and we may trip a little too. Our kids might may be led by my son. There may be some chirping going on from behind the backstop because we're not allowed in the dugouts, but we got some chairs behind the backstop and whatnot, and there's some talking going on.
Energy, man, energy.
Good sportsmanship. All positive. All for our own team.
No, you
there's
need
some talking going on.
You need to bring energy to baseball, and all these bat flips and everything I'm seeing now and pitchers celebrating, I love every second of it. I think that it's a game where you need to bring energy and emotion to it. Hockey, you score, you celebrate, and but football, it's literally part of every play. You intercept it, they run to the opposite end zone. They act like they've never intercepted a pass before. And a lot of people take issue with it. But at the end of the day, there's dedicated segments to celebrations in every single sport. Golf, you have the Tiger fist pump. That's iconic.
Right.
Soccer, it's all the Ronaldo celebration, the Mbappe, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's all dedicated. Baseball, you pimp a home run, you're wearing 95 in the ribcage your next 4 at-bats. That's not going to grow a game. That's not going to grow the sports. The fact that we can what it does for me is, like, when I walk into Fenway, I walk up that ramp, I walk out right field, I see the monster, I walk up wherever. I feel like I'm 10 again. The hair in the back of my neck stands up any baseball stadium, anytime I'm around that. I feel like I'm a kid again.
Yep.
And baseball is a kid's game. You grow up playing it, T-ball, instructional. Literally, kids are born and bred playing off that sport. And all of a sudden, you got to turn that switch off in the pros. You got to act like a robot, like Mike Trout. No, let people have fun. Let them do it. I've never understood that, the whole throwing at people and everything like that. If you don't like it, don't serve them a meatball over the plate. Get them out. That's it. It's that simple for me. They need to bring more energy to that sport, and especially with those kids out there, when you want to say chirping, cheering, whatever it is, they need to do that because it's the first time they've been out of the house since March around all their buddies. Let it rip, let it out. Have as much fun as you possibly can because you don't get these years back, and it was almost taken away from you this year. So have as much fun as you possibly can.
Absolutely.
So speaking of having fun, Lucas, we're going to ask you a question. Okay, I know you're the host and the moderator. Talking about having fun. And some of the most fun that we've had at the school. Tell me what it's like to have that 10 pounds of gold around your waist.
Oh, the belt? Oh, the
belt.
Speaking of iconic pictures, you with that belt.
Oh my God. So like in my room in the decoration, if I've sent you guys the pictures, I have the one of me wearing the belt. I'm trying to find, yeah, it's right up there. It's right up. So I have the Rocky quote from Rocky 5 where he says, "That ain't you. Let me tell you something. The world ain't sunshine or rainbow." That whole quote. Yep. Then there's David Ortiz to the right, and then there's me smack in the middle with the belt. So
love it.
That's it. And then it's something I've never really touched on too, and that's sad that I think didn't happen last year, and obviously I don't know if it was going to happen this year or not. I miss Mr. Cougar, man. Mr. Cougar was one of the most, of all the things that I loved football. I loved Old Colony. One of the most fun experiences of my life, and it was around a bunch of people that I wasn't really that close with at all. Like when I was
That's the beauty of it.
When I was close with Jared, I wasn't close with Jared. I'm not as close with Jared now, but I wasn't close with Jared then. He wasn't doing it. I wasn't close with Robbie. I wasn't close with Cam. I played football with these guys, but these weren't like my boys. These weren't my people I was close with. I mean, Jasper and all them, like Evan Capozzi, those people I wasn't really that close with, but man, did we have a fun time doing Mr. Cougar. And especially my skit. Every time Blue Oyster Cult comes on, I can never, like, it's in my head. All I can think of is me, Trahan, Ronnie doing our thing out there. God, it's just, like I sent you the picture yesterday. The Blues Brothers came on my shuffle. I instantly screenshot. I said the shuffle hits different, and God, it just takes me back, man. It's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had at Old Colony. I know other high schools have similar things to that, but in terms of my high school career, that's one of the most fun experiences I've ever had.
I got a fever. Like the thing about that though, Lucas, is you hit the nail on the head. That's the one thing that I love about that show is that, it's like a senior gift, right? It's we spend a lot of time with you guys. That's like our gift as a memory that you'll never forget, right? But it puts you around people that you may not normally put yourself around, you know, because it encompasses everybody. Everybody's welcome. Everybody, you know, is encouraged to join. And you have people who have talents. You have people who are musicians. You have people who are, you know, just you're going to do a skit, which I thought that was probably, we've been doing it 15 years. That may have been one of the best skits to this point. But it's just, it's to get the school community together and you guys showcase all of this hard work. It's like, it's the best. It's the best. So you're right. I mean, we had a great lineup for this year, and then it kind of got, you know, the rug got pulled out, you know, so.
I would have, was Bumpus involved? Was Bumpus going to do it? Thank God. I would have had that. I would have had his behind if he had not been doing that. Jesus Christ. That must've been, I don't know. What would he have done for his talent? Just yell at people the whole time? Just yell at people?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about that.
But no, I would, it's just something I've always, I mean, I was so upset when they didn't do it the year after, but it was so enjoyable for me to do it. I didn't even care about winning it. The fact that I was actually one of the final three when I did it was just cool. It was just fun building up to the whole thing. That skit was incredibly fun. When you guys said SNL theme, it was instantly behind Pete Sweaty, probably the first skit that came to my mind. And I thought that, so if we could have done the other one would got me kicked out of probably Old Colony, but I mean, Flint's got a sense of humor, right? I would have, but
you were a good Will Ferrell. You were a good Will Ferrell.
I had the hair to match up with it. I even got into character. I even cropped up the shirt. I had pins in the shirt. I bought into it, man. And it for me too, it was a really transitionary period in my life where I've talked to Brandon about it separately when I was going through my mental health stuff. That after football, I never released baseball. I'd messed up my hamstring and stuff, so it was kind of its own thing. And I was really in a tough place, and it really got tougher after that. But that, for that period of time, was for the confidence that I exuded and showed on stage and how I put myself together there was kind of just like a shell of what, like, it was just like an outer shell, kind of like a turtle of like what I actually was going through. But I appreciate it so much for everything that it was, because it really did give me that release for that period of time, as I was hurting behind the scenes. But in terms of when I was there and wanted to be there, I knew I had to put on a different image. I had to put on a different costume, put on the Superman costume in a sense, and get out there and get the job done. And I loved it. And that's why it was probably even more fun to me, is because what I was going through at that time, what it did for me was so much more than just being a part of Mr. Cougar, being a part of the school community. It was so much more than that for me.
That's funny you say that. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's, you know, you talk about the community, the week leading up to, with the music and the dance in the cafeteria, and, you know, you're the star for a week of school. And for one night, you're the star in a full gym. You know, it is 500 plus people. You know, the whole school community is involved. That, you know, one of my favorite things in Alo, the day of, you know, that day of school is a ball. We're just 30 deep in the gym, setting up the stage.
Yeah, I was in that gym the whole day, I think. I think we were in the gym the whole day. Even if I wasn't supposed to be, I was there the whole day.
Right. Well, we won't talk about that. But nobody saw that, right?
I'll edit it out. I'll edit it out.
No, and I think I told you guys before you go on, the minute you walk off the stage after your opening act, you guys are going to be sky high.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that's a feeling like none other. To be in front of your community, to be involved, to have that different rush is something that really is so cool, and it's so good to hear you say that. And we hear that a lot. You know, I talked to Big Murph recently. He said the same thing. I think a memory popped up on Snapchat. It was me and him from Mr. Cougar. And, you know, I get them. They pop up on my memories too. Like,
yep,
man, I miss this stuff, you know? So to have that day, to have that night, to have that week, and there's a lot of hard work that goes into it, you know?
Absolutely.
But the sense of accomplishment is good, you know? To put on a hell of a show after all the work you guys put in is outstanding. And, you know, we love it. I can't wait to get it back. I was disappointed this year and can't wait to see it next year, you know?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's fulfilling, you know, in the end, because, you know, it's like anything else, right? You start from somewhere. You know, Lucas, you know, we're in a classroom talking about what's the theme, what's the colors, what's it going to look like, to the end product of what we've built over a 6-8 week period. Sure. Is amazing. So it's kind of like, you know, it's like building a team, right? You know, like, you know, you start in the preseason and you get to the championship game, and Mr. Cougar is, one of the things for me that, that I find very exciting is that's the centerfold of your yearbook, right?
Yeah.
That's the centerfold. So that tells you the magnitude of that event and really what it does for the school and how it brings people together. I love it.
I mean, I'm in our yearbook with the high mom in my jacket when I opened up for my
Yeah.
That's
so clever.
that picture was there. I wonder who had that idea.
Yeah, well, I may be in my yearbook with that too.
But it's just it's a lot of fun. I remember, and I still remember that speech that you guys had gave us. You huddled us like a football team. We weren't all athletes for sure. Like I said, some of those names you mentioned, we weren't all athletes. And then you're gonna feel things that you've probably never felt before tonight. Like embrace it, get after it, get behind it, take that energy and turn it into just let it out, let it rip.
Yep.
This is your night. Enjoy it, have fun, just be you. And I just couldn't. That I mean, not that I wasn't already calm, but when you said that, I just instantly it just flipped the switch. I was like a football game, like after the national anthem, right? When I get like the national anthem would be like my last sign before I would really lock into a game. I'd close my eyes, let the national anthem do its thing, totally out of football. I would lock everything out and just settle in, like a little 1-minute meditation. And then the second that ended and we all got together, that was it. I was locked in, snapped in, and that speech you gave us in there before we all went out, just it locked me in. And I remember we essentially, if you look at it as like you say, building a team, essentially we had a player retire like 2 weeks before we were set to go off for a playoff game. And we had all right, oh, well, now you guys have no choice. You got to do the dance. And I was like, Jesus Christ, here we go. Which at the end of the day was incredibly fun. I had that opening scene was just something else. I mean, the whole night was something else, but that opening scene for it to go as well as it did. And I really never even, the crazy thing was I never really I looked in the crowd once, and it wasn't until my casual where I actually looked up at the crowd while I was speaking. And I was like, wow, it's something to look up at that, like all those people, like eyes on you. It was something else to look at that. It was incredible feeling. Yeah. Empowering, really. I was like, well, like it just for most people it might scare you, but for me, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but when I saw those people, it was even more. It took me from here to here. It set the bar even higher for me. I was like, all right, let's bring it on. Let's go. I was in such a good mood at that point. It was awesome. It was just such an incredible experience.
That's something you can take with you. You'll never forget. I mean, where else and how else can you do that? How else can you be in a jam-packed gym? I mean, and then the thing that I love too is I love taking pictures because every show has looked a little different. But when you add 1,000 balloons and all these lights and all this stuff, it's like people are like, oh man, I got to get to that thing because what are they going to do? What's going to happen? And you guys, it's funny because when you shut the lights down and you put a spotlight on you guys, I mean, you guys deliver. I mean, you definitely deliver, and that's rewarding in the end when you sit back and say, man, that was a good show. It was a good show, real good.
It takes such amount, it takes an amount of courage to play football. That is one thing. But you can play football. But you have courage to play football. You got to have courage to do certain things in sports. Yeah, that's a thing. But the
Coach,
amount of
I gotta interrupt you, Lucas. I'm sorry, Coach. My Google Calendar tells me it's time for your appointment with the MIAA.
Oh, yep.
As the unpaid assistant volunteer athletic director that I am, I got to keep you on your calendar. Sorry to interrupt you, Lucas.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
I do appreciate that. And, before I go, I just want to say, hey, listen, this was awesome. I mean, I love what you're doing, Lucas. You're doing one hell of a job. And the topics today were outstanding. I love talking about Jake and all the things. Pearls of Wisdom, keep reading from that good book because you know what? You're going places, kid. And I know that big things are yet to come for you.
I appreciate it so much, Coach. If you're at practice Wednesday, I'll see you then.
All right. Hey, thanks for having us on.
No problem,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Hey.
All right.
Sorry, I had to do them like.
I was thinking too. I was looking in that bottom right corner of my time, and I was okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll announce the news later. Be able to retweet it. I can't like Instagram posts right now because I pissed off the algorithm. I don't know what I did.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, I might have to rebuild my 1,000 followers of Instagram, which would just be because I unfollowed all the people I was following because I had someone else run my account and build it and do its thing, and it did its thing, and it's awesome. And now I'm trying to go through and do my own thing. You can see it here. I have it on the sheet.
Yep.
It's probably gonna be backwards. what's my following number at? What are the followers? And then like how many did I follow? Who did I follow from? And how am I?
Gotcha.
There's a whole system. There's a whole thing I can link you to you as well.
Yeah.
But I tried doing the same thing for Instagram and like unfollowing the people I didn't want to follow, and I just don't know what's going on. I can't like pictures right now, so
Oof.
I just have to either comment or put it in my story. So that I can do, but other than that, it's just I can't unfollow or follow people. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know what I did, but I gotta call somebody, I guess.
Breaking the matrix.
Yeah. What was I on? I forget what I was talking about before.
We're talking Mr. Cougar.
We're talking Mr. Cougar. Oh, the courage it takes to do Mr. Cougar.
Yes.
It takes courage to play football. It takes courage to play certain sports. Yes, but the courage it takes to play. You know how many? We had a lot of great athletes in that team. We had a lot of great people. We had a lot of great characters in that school, in my graduating class, like Paul Ashley, Brad Plissy, Jared Gagne, all great athletes, just good people, great characters. Yep. And I mean, I'm not trying to knock them for it. And they're courageous people. They played they played football. We practiced with each other. We put each other in the dirt. We stepped up to, other people. We played in games against Sacred Heart. I was out against Sacred Heart. Brad Plissy was still going off, Jared played through had that neck injury happen our sophomore year. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that went down, a lot of courageous actions. But at the end of the day, there was only a select 7 of us out there for Mr. Cougar. And I think that speaks to how much courage it takes to take on that role, to step into that. But it's like he had said, it's incredibly rewarding at the same time too when you come through and have a good performance like that. Like I said, it's one of the things I look back on the most.
Yeah, and I look at it, personally, how much my public speaking persona and comfortability has changed because of Mr. Cougar. I remember when Coach Trahan asked me, to be the co-host with him. I said, "Oh, all right. I mean,
best MC around, man."
Yeah, well, hey, appreciate that. Hey, now I have no problem being up in front of people. They put me in front of the whole school.
Did better than I did on the what was it, pep rally.
Yeah, well, pep rallies are tough.
Anyways,
new things to come. But to be up there and dressed in the tux and going off the script and sometimes go veering off the script a little bit in front of 500-600 people. The whole school community, it really made me more comfortable in my skin and my ability to speak publicly. And, it makes me, easily more relatable and things like that. So, to your point, the courage to get up there and has really helped me develop, so like we talk about all the time, it's a two-way street, man. We do this stuff to make sure that you guys have a good experience, but it also, we're getting something from it too, so it's Mr. Cougar's phenomenal, great experience.
Yeah. Like I said, I definitely did better than I did at pep rally. I remember pep rally just kind of going up there. Yeah, we were projected to be the worst team in the area. We're undefeated right now. A lot of you guys probably didn't even know who we were, but hey, come out and support your boy. Like I remember how angry I was. Of course I had to be the person. I was the person like, oh, you do the coin flips, Lucas. You can I go, dude, oh my God, why? I'm like, you do not want me to make anybody. I'm like, but then I was like, let Cam do it. Let somebody else do it. And you're like, no, and that's you. There's no one else doing it but you. I was like, all right, I'll do it. No. Who else is going to do it? I don't think anybody else is going to do it.
No.
And I stepped up and I was like, I'm going to do it, but it might not be pretty. It might be. And I'm just calling basically anybody outside of the 30 people in Cougars jerseys just essentially just got called out in that gym saying like, if you're not there, just, we're undefeated. Come check it out. That's all.
I like it.
We had demolished teams at that point.
Yeah.
Aside from, no, we weren't undefeated. We lost to Sacred Heart.
We lost the first game.
We were like, what, 5-1 at that point, 4-1. Yeah. We had like won 4 straight. We're like ranked above New Bedford High and South Coast thing as opposed to where we started the season dead last. Yep. And yeah, we played we played Upper Cape that night, and I remember we didn't play well. We didn't even play well that night. I personally remember playing well. I remember I was like, I've never made this many tackles in a game before. But then when I started looking back at the film, and I was like, dude, I'm the strong side linebacker, and I'm making plays 15 yards down the field on the weak side. Something has gone wrong. Yeah, something has not gone right here. I was like, I shouldn't be making this many tackles. I shouldn't be doing like. I had no problems with it. It looked good in my highlight reel, but at the end of the day, I was like, "There's no way I should be doing this much right now."
I think spirited halftime speech might have made a difference. I think we played much better in the second half than we did in the first half.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. if I wish, well, I have the one of me ripping the sweatshirt in half. I thought that sweatshirt was supposed to survive forever. Right
I
next
don't know
to
what you're
it.
talking about.
I have that video. That was great.
That's still hanging in the weight room too.
Did you guys restitch that?
No, it's hanging.
Oh,
It's a freaking. It's epic now.
it's every time you guys go to play them now, it's just oh god. I remember that. I was like, oh, I remember wearing it as a crop top. First of all, remember I cut it to a crop. Oh my god, you were like, dude, you gotta put that away. I said, what? Why? You're like, no, dude, it's cool, but like, just go change. I was like, all right. And I put it on. I think I put it on over the practice. I think it was the same practice that me, Brad, and Jared dove through all the mud. God,
Yeah.
that was just such a fun year. We just the great thing about that team was we didn't really we wanted to be good. We knew we were good. We didn't read into anything. Like we read into we used it only as motivation.
Yep.
It was just fun for us, man. It was just fun. You guys believed in us. We believed in ourselves because you guys believed in us, and you believed in us because of how much self-confidence we had. Like I said, it's reciprocated.
Yep.
Had faith in you guys. Aside from preseason, because preseason was a mess. I thought, well, first of all, we thought that my knee exploded preseason.
Yeah.
Then our starting quarterback just said deuces, and then Robbie shattered his hand again.
Yeah.
So it was not a hot start, and then on top of that, we go out and get shut out our first game, the Sacred Heart.
Jared played near death. Came out of the hospital and tried to play.
Yeah, remember he had that big circle around his head? Wasn't that thing when he had the circle around his hand? His hand was infected and he had like some sort of like underlying thing going on.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a time where it wasn't like Upper Cape where he had strep undetected and I had to step into running back and just bowl over some people. This, like I said, there's so many like positive experiences, but like I remember this. I remember the practice before Sacred Heart. We didn't finish that practice. That was not a good practice.
No, you did not. That was not a very good day.
No, I remember talking about it with my dad, and I was like making movies, like he sent they or whatever movie it was we were watching. They sent the team home. He goes, "Did coaches really do that?" I said, "Yep." I've witnessed that a couple of times. And
if you're wasting your time, we're not wasting each other's time here. So moving on.
And I go, and it might not have an immediate effect, but let me tell you, long term, absolutely has an effect. Because I know we're going out losing. We lose 20-0 to Sacred Heart.
Yep.
I remember Jared wasn't playing much. I remember we were just trying to get by. I remember we just kept throwing me in the flat, kept trying to do my thing. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And I remember going, I wish I could pull up the interview. God, I should have had the interview ready. From what I said, what I quoted, saying like there's a couple more things we need to execute better at, but at the end of the day, like the effort was there. I think we're in good shape. I think we're gonna prove a lot of people wrong. And then you look back at the season, we go 8-3? Yeah, 8-3. 8-3, Cougar Cup winners, went to state playoff, all that stuff.
Yep. Before
I messed up my shoulder, and then like it's so many good memories looking back on it, man. That stuff's fun. That stuff was my junior year was fun. There's so many like images and so many moments that are just like I said, like Mr. Cougar, that are just burned and seared into my head that like all the time will just come up and I'll just be sitting there smiling because I have these just memories just burned into my head of
That's
just
awesome,
like it's just those moments. I remember Baker, it was like 4th and 15 and Jack just throws a Hail Mary like prayer up to Baker against Blue Hills in the playoff game. Like 50 yards downfield. Just
he went up and over the kid to get it.
Triple coverage. I go up, I'm hugging him and stuff. Of course, we're out of whatever set we were in. I think we went totally spread for the next play. So I'm too busy hugging Bake. There's time running off the clock. And then Bake's like, get off me, get off the sideline, get off it. And then Jack's like, get off the field. I was like so like immersed.
Yeah.
Then a play later we go there and I remember you were going through plays with Jack and I go to Bake, I go, Connecticut. And I was like, Connecticut, like out of Tiger. And I knew, I was like, dude, if it wasn't to the short side of the field, I'm still convinced I scored the winning touchdown in the game or the tying touchdown. But it was to the short side of the field. He goes, dude, they're never going to see that. He goes, we're good. I got it. So then he ran over there and told you, like I said, there's so many moments. Like I could like go like play by play of like what happened, especially with Bake. And then Brad going over the top, like,
yep.
Really special stuff. But like I said, like I do want to do like a 30 for 30 on those like 2 years. Now that everybody's graduated, if people they want to do it, we can do it. If they don't, well, they're gone. They can not be a part of it, but we'll just mention whatever. But I think if we do put highlights together and stuff and do like a little, like I said, I want to do it with OCTV too. If they want to do the filming of the interviews. We want to do them at the school, depending on what happens with COVID and everything. There's
Right.
there's some things I have in mind. I also wouldn't mind doing calling games of those CTV too, like the
Yeah.
post recordings. I mean, why not record some of the games,
Right.
television style? Then you have to be live, but just just record them that way and let me call a game or something. Like I'd be totally with that. I totally love to call a football game from up top. If I'm not coaching, I would love to be calling a football game from up top up there.
Yeah, that'd be fun, man. That'd be a lot of fun. If we can make that happen, that'd be awesome.
I gotta send some emails out for sure. I gotta do that.
Cool.
But like I said, with and then with you too on Hot Mic, I want to call some college games too. I want to be able to look into some college games and stuff because I'm gonna be calling baseball games pretty soon enough
Yeah,
because I have time.
yeah.
If you want to get on a call baseball game with me or get in call, do anything, you're more than welcome.
I'd love to. I think that'd be a lot of fun. You know me. I love talking sports, and I'm good for some color. So
and like I said, on Wednesday too, I'm gonna be by too. I can't.
Awesome.
I am. So for anybody that's interested in that, I think I'm gonna be in the GoPro because the
That's
GoPro works more than a camera. So I might do. I don't know. I might do some. I wish I had like a little thing for my phone. I might just do phone interviews like through voice, and then just like drop some quotes, and then I'm gonna probably. But I do want to get some good images, some good film
Sick.
of like the kids working out, doing their thing. I want to interview some kids from 6 feet apart, of course. I do want to get some of their thoughts on everything and how they've been and what their thoughts are going into the next season. Hopefully Trahan gets some good news in this meeting that he comes out of.
We'll see. I still think I don't think
There's still some time. There's still a lot of
Yeah.
time ahead, and there's probably still going to be some complications and such beforehand. But absolutely.
That's all right, man. That's all right.
All
the
right,
right path.
Alrighty, I think that's all the time we got here, Coach. I appreciate you hopping on so much, and I appreciate everything that Matt Train did, everything you guys had to say. I want to keep continuing to do this. I want to make you guys at least a monthly recurring guest if we can. If you guys want to come on once a month, or at least one of you guys comes on once a month or whatever, I do at least want to, I mean, because these are the best podcasts I put out there. When I'm talking to, I mean, I don't have a problem bringing my friends on to talk to them. Like I enjoy those conversations too, but you really can't beat this because you guys come from so many different backgrounds too, but you guys have taught us, but also teaching other people. And it shows me who has learned under you now. And now I'm doing my own thing and I'm able to reciprocate some of that knowledge back that you guys really try to instill in me, which is really, it's powerful. It's cool. And I think it's just really good conversation and, eye-opening stuff.
Yeah. Always a pleasure to talk with you, Lucas. I really appreciate you having us on and me on, multiple times. And I'd love to be involved, continue to be involved. And I love, helping you and helping us get ours off the ground. And,
absolutely,
we want to have you on as well. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So,
absolutely. So, I mean, you got the Instagram and everything linked there.
Hey,
Be sure to follow them, Breakfast of Champions 2 on Instagram. What you guys got for Twitter? Is it the same thing?
No, we got our individual Twitters. I'm Coach Mendez 2, and Matt's Matt Trahan 5. So give us a follow on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll be sharing out all the links for sure.
Awesome,
I do. One of the things I personally want to do too is I want to start blogging more. I want to at least put out like one blog a week and stuff too.
I know we had talked about that too. I gotta get that stuff together. So
if Matt wants in on that too, I am totally interested in that. You guys eventually probably get your own site and everything too. But if he has any interest in having that be an avenue for stuff that he does and stuff that he wants to put out, especially from instead of just like tweeting out like the pictures and stuff, if he wants an avenue to put out stuff like his thoughts on it or any news or anything like that outside of the Old Colony website or outside of like his own stuff, like I am more than welcome to help bring him on and let that be an avenue and let that be a way for him to get that stuff out. More than happy to do that.
I appreciate that, man. I really appreciate that. Like I said, always a pleasure and look forward to working with you more, man. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. I'll see you Wednesday, Coach Mendez. Hopefully I see Matt there too. It's your boy Rufus signing off.